Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Katarina. I am barefaced today because I will be creating a look using all of my oldest makeup products. I did film the video where I shared with you my 10 oldest makeup products, and I actually wanted to create a full face of using all of my oldest makeup. These kind of videos are actually a thing on YouTube. I'm not 100% sure of who was the first person to film a video like this, but I believe it was Lauren Mae Beauty. She filmed a video like this in September of 2019 when she was doing her nostalgia week. But yeah, I will be using from each category my oldest makeup product today to create a makeup look. I am going to be using my oldest brow powder today. However, since I do have a very little bit of brow hair, I actually did shape my brows already with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil off camera. But my very oldest brow product in my collection is this one. This is from Essence. I cannot even properly show it to you because the powder is all in pieces. So this is the Essence Make Me Proud Duo in the set Mix It Blonde, and this one I have bought somewhere in 2017. So it's clearly my oldest brow product. Brows is totally a category where I don't want to have too many products because I like to do my brows the same way every single day, and anyways I'm extremely picky with brow products. And honestly, I think, and what is my goal for future with brow products, is that I only want to have one brow pencil. I don't like pomades, I don't like brow gel. One tiny brow pencil is enough for me, then I can use eyeshadow to fill in the brows. I will say that usually I do go for a little bit deeper brows, but with this brow powder I can get like a more natural kind of light brown result. But I like to have a little bit more depth on my brows usually. This next step is completely optional. I'm going to be putting just a little bit of concealer under my brows because I do like to bring a little bit of coverage to my lid, and also I like to make my brows quite sharp. But I will talk about the concealer later when I'm going to conceal my face. Alright, so let's quickly chat about eyeshadow primer. Eyeshadow primer is a category in makeup where I do want to keep my collection really curated, and I only want to have one regular eyeshadow primer in my collection, and I do have the Urban Decay anti-aging eyeshadow primer potion. However, this one is not old at all. It is actually bought just a couple of months ago on Black Friday. And then I also do have the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the set Milk, and I will admit this is old. This I have bought probably in 2016. So it's old. However, I only use this with certain type of looks, and today I'm not going to create a look where this would be necessary, so unfortunately I won't be using it today. But then I also do have a glitter primer. This one I have bought, I believe, in summer of 2019. This we are probably going to be using today. But let's just start with the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. Eyeshadow primer just is a product that, first of all, it goes really slowly, but also it expires. I have experienced irritation with expired eyeshadow primers in the past, so that is like the reason why I really don't want to have more than one in my collection. And anyways, this is kind of like a more boring product. I want to have something that works. There is a place in my collection for glitter primer and for white base, but what comes to normal primer, I don't really see why I would need to have more than one. Okay, so today we are of course going to be creating my look with my oldest eyeshadow palette, and you guessed it, it is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar Eyeshadow Palette. So today I want to go for a look that is kind of like more on the romantic side, if you will. I want to use Marzipan, that is my favorite shade, but also I do want to use some of the burgundy shades. But very first I'm going to use the shade White Chocolate to set my eyeshadow primer. I don't always set my eyeshadow primer, but I do sometimes. It really depends about the formula that I'm using. And I just find that even though this palette is old, I didn't even say how old this is. This I have bought in summer of 2015. But even though this is a really old formula, the mattes are still so pigmented, and I feel these mattes are so pigmented that if I don't set my eyeshadow primer, I will lose control when working with the mattes. So that's why I like to set the primer. I have easier time blending, and I would rather, if possible, it's not possible always, especially with some cheaper formulas, but I would rather build the color up slowly than go in with a lot of product, then spend a lot of time to blending it. I will start creating the look, and I won't always show you when I move on to the next color, but I think the shades I want to use are Salted Caramel, Semi-Sweet, Cherry Cordial, Black Forest Truffle, Marzipan and Amaretto, and White Chocolate. But yeah, I did mention in my 10 oldest makeup product video 4 eyeshadow palettes, but most of them still work really well, so I totally think eyeshadow is something that lasts good long. Obviously formulas keep improving, but to be completely honest, I really do love the formula of this Too Faced palette. Of course there are some shades that I'm not the biggest fan of, like Gilded Ganache and Black Forest Truffle. They are just like kind of like sheer and glittery weird shades, but what comes to the mattes and the basic shimmers, I really do like them. I don't have any issue of having eyeshadow in my collection that is a little bit older, as long as it performs well. However, eyeshadow is a product that, you know, takes quite a while to use up. Of course it depends on a formula. Something like Too Faced is way more difficult to even hit pan on than, for example, Beige Cosmetics, which is a formula I have been panning a lot. Or ABH, I have been working on the Modern Renaissance eyeshadow palette. But because eyeshadow takes a little bit longer to go through, and because I am someone who likes to do project panning, I really don't want to grow my collection too much. And I also do want to take a step back from panning. This palette I am actually panning this year, but next year I'm thinking of like taking a break from pan that palette completely, because I know it's not realistic to go through all of my eyeshadows, and you know, some of my eyeshadows are starting to be older. Like right now I do have 3 eyeshadow palettes that are older than 5 years, and while they are still performing well, I don't know how long they are going to stay good. And I would hate to be so focused on panning something that, you know, my other products just completely expire during that time. So next year maybe it's time to take a break from pan that palette. I'm not exactly sure. It makes me really sad because I love pan that palette, but at the same time I don't want to neglect my entire collection. But whoa, I am so inspired by these shadows, and I just realized I should have taken you closer. I'm sorry, I'm going to take you a little closer. I am so inspired by these shadows and the pigmentation they have. Even though I did set my lid, these perform so well. These are so good eyeshadows. So now I'm bringing a little bit of Cherry Cordial to the outer V. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit of the e.l.f. glitter primer to my lid. I don't think it's necessary to use glitter primer at all with Too Faced shimmery formula. However, since I did set my lid before I started applying the mattes, I do prefer to wear glitter primer. I just stick with almost all shimmer formulas, no matter how good they are. If you do have completely smooth and setted base, the formula is just not going to stick as well as it would to sticky base. And that is why I don't set my lid always, but as I said, some matte formulas like Too Faced just feel so pigmented that I feel I don't have control. Then I will be bringing Marzipan to my lid. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad because I have hit pan on marzipan and now every time that I use it I can see the pan expanding. Usually I would be so excited about that, but I love marzipan so much and I know once the shade is gone I won't like this palette as much, so it's kind of like bittersweet. On the other hand, I'm glad to see progress and that the shade is used, but I don't want to go through with the shade. So yeah, another option would of course be to either use your finger, that works perfectly, or then wet your brush. That is actually something that I don't really like doing anymore. I do think glitter primer works better, it's less messy, but also I have been able to curate my setting spray collection so that I only do have Urban Decay setting sprays, and those are pretty expensive. I don't want to waste them on wetting eyeshadow. I just love this color marzipan so much. Next I'm going to be using the shade Amaretto. I know I said I would use also the shade Black Forest Truffle, however I don't think I will because the shade Cherry Cordal totally was like deep enough to deepen out the look. Then I will be just like highlighting just a little bit my brow bone. Maybe I will try to use Black Forest Truffle as an eyeliner. I don't know if this is going to work out, but my oldest eyeliner is really like a kohl kajal. It's meant to be used in waterline, so I don't know if I want to really like bring this to my lash line. So maybe instead I will try to use Black Forest Truffle. And you know, if I do have glitter fallout all over my face, it doesn't matter. This is exactly why I do my eyeshadow first, because you know, I don't want to be worried about my face, like if I have fallout or if I touch my face. Okay, I don't hate the eyeliner, but it could be better. I just think these shades in the palette that do have that weird like glitter sort of thing going on, so Black Forest Truffle and Gilded Ganache and also Candid Violet, they do lack pigmentation quite a bit compared to everything else in the palette. And yeah, I just don't think I was able to get really intense sort of line, but you know, that is going to be enough for today, I think. I don't have an old mascara in my collection at all. In fact, my mascara is one of my newest makeup products. I bought this, I believe, January 2nd or 1st. But I will be applying a little bit of mascara and also some false lashes off camera, and then I will be back. Okay, so let's move on to my base makeup. My oldest primer is actually not that old at all. It is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Primer, and I have bought this one in February of 2020, so it is a year old right now. And this one actually has 24 months of shelf life, so not even expired. I guess because it is in an airless pump. This is one of my favorite primers, and what comes to pore filling primers, this is my favorite. I just don't typically anymore like to wear a pore filling primer all over the face, but for the sake of this video we are going to do that. But usually I do prefer hydrating primer like all over my face and then on my T-zone and like this area. I do prefer pore filling on top of the hydrating one. But this one just makes my face so smooth. I love this primer. Okay, so let's chat about foundation because I feel I do have something to say about this topic. So my oldest foundation is the Catrice HD Liquid Radiance foundation, and this one I have bought in January of 2020, so it is a little bit over a year old. And this one has 12 months shelf life. So we are now past the expiration date, and because of that I want to finish it quickly. However, I do have this one in the shade Nude Beige, and this one is way too dark for my skin tone. So we are going to use this today, but I'm going to mix it in with a lighter foundation. Foundations that are in my summer shade, like this one matches me when I do have really decent tan. Foundations like this I am not able to go through during one summer, but I will try my very hardest to go through this foundation next summer, but I mean, look at that. So I'm going to mix it in with the NYX Born to Glow in the shade Fair, and this one is, on the other hand, way too light for me. Like, I look like a ghost if I just apply this. So by mixing these two foundations I will get a decent match. But yeah, foundation is totally something where I don't want to have products that are too old in my collection anymore, and this is because of personal experience. So I used to have a little bit bigger makeup collection just a couple of years ago, and I also used to be that girl who saved their favorite makeup and high-end makeup for a special occasion. So I had bought the Too Faced Born This Way foundation from Sephora when my husband and I visited Stockholm in fall of 2016. And I got to say, the Too Faced Born This Way foundation is one of my favorite foundations ever. It is such a beautiful foundation. I think I would still this day love that. I don't really love the brand, but the foundation was great. So I really did enjoy that foundation and it was a favorite. However, Too Faced is a brand that has always been quite difficult for me to get my hands on. It used to not really be available on any websites that ship to Finland. However, every single time when I would travel somewhere where there is Sephora, I would buy some Too Faced products. But also because of the availability for me with the brand, I kind of wanted to save my Too Faced products, especially the foundation. So I only bought the foundation that I bought in fall 2016 if it was a special occasion and I wanted to have like extra nice skin. However, in 2019 I really wanted to focus on some of my oldest products, and I did put that foundation, I think along with another foundation, to my 19 in 2019 project pan. And I started to use that foundation in the summer of that year. So at that point the foundation was already almost 3 years old. It broke me out so badly. Like right away when I started using the foundation, I got pimples like all around my face, like especially on this area where I really do not break out otherwise anymore. And I should have just tossed the foundation because it was causing skin problems. However, I didn't want to waste my product because I had paid quite a bit for it, like almost 40 euros. So I forced myself to use it up. The expired ass foundation that broke me out and caused all of these pimples. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this because I know that in makeup community and in panning community people do have really old complexion products. And of course everyone's skin is different. Some people react easier than others. I will say I am not sensitive. Like I really rarely do get like irritation from skincare or from ingredients. But I did get issues with using that expired foundation. So I just want to say to anyone like watching that, you know, it's not worth it to use a foundation that really causes problems to you. I do regret that I did use the foundation up, but I feel I learned my lesson and I don't want to anymore have really foundations that are past the expiration date. The only exception is these foundations that I buy in the summer and I'm not able to finish them, but then I want to be sure to use them up during the next summer. I don't want to risk it anymore with my skin, and that is the reason why I do want to keep my both foundation collection and my primer collection really curated, because those products, they are directly in contact with my skin. Like primer is the first layer, foundation is the second layer, and I don't want to have like any issues because of using products too old. Concealer I will be using today is the Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer in the shade C1. This one I have bought also in January of 2020. I will say I usually don't like to use this concealer on my under eyes. I usually just like to highlight with this, but for the sake of this video we are going to use it like all over. I just think this is way too light for me to use on my under eyes because I don't anymore like that really light under eye where it's like clearly a couple of shades lighter than the rest of your face, but as I said, for the sake of this video, we are going to do it. And yeah, concealer is another category where I try not to have too old products, but I'm not quite as worried about it as with foundations, because I do use concealer on a smaller area. And I don't really spot conceal. Oh my gosh, this is way too light. Honestly, that looks horrible. I don't know, sometimes when I look into the viewfinder, it does not look as bad when I go back to edit, but like now that I look to the viewfinder, it looks like ridiculous. This is almost like a throwback to 2016, except I don't have those same brows anymore, thank God. So we are going to be using two powders today. I'm going to be setting my under eye with the Revolution Baking Powder in the shade Lace. So this one is the right container. I just keep it in a separate container because the own container of the powder is quite bad. So this powder I have bought somewhere in 2018, and something that I have been thinking is that even though some of these setting powders are of really good value, I don't necessarily want to buy these huge powder packagings anymore, like this one. This one contains 35 grams, or the RCMA color no color powder, which contains I don't even know how much, but a lot. Because you know, these take forever to go through, and sometimes I may get a little bit bored with the powder. I mean, yes, powder is something that I don't, you know, necessarily want to have variety, but for example this one, it can sometimes like emphasize some dry patches or maybe the lines under my eyes. It's not a bad powder, but it's not my favorite either, so yeah. Alright, so next we are going to set my face with my actually oldest powder in my collection. I can't believe this is so old, but this is the theBalm Sexy Mama powder, and this one I have bought in July of 2017. So this is over 3.5 years old, and I have not even hit pan on it. There is a reason why I have not hit pan on this. It is because I typically don't like to set my face with this one. This is a really matte powder. This is something that I only use to touch up, and I just don't need to do touch-ups quite as much. I do still have combination skin that is a little bit more on the oily side than on the dry side, and especially my T-zone does get really oily. But I just don't feel I need to do touch-ups that much anymore. When back in the days I used to do touch-ups like multiple times a day. But yeah, this powder is totally my favorite to do touch-ups, because this one, like, it takes all of the shine away, but it doesn't look like cakey and gross at all. It just makes everything matte. Now I have set my face with it, and I do think it pretty much took all of that glow away from the NYX Born to Glow foundation and the Catrice Radiance foundation. So not necessarily a combination I would do that much in real life, because I don't kind of get the point of doing a dewy foundation but setting it with something that makes it look really matte. If I'm using dewy foundation, usually I go to set my face with this one. This is the Milani Prep Set Glow powder. Let's move on. I'm going to take you a little bit closer so we can finish my eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to use kind of like the same colors that I used in my crease. I really do love this eyeshadow palette. I'm so impressed how well it is still performing. And personally, I do think these colors look really flattering on my complexion too. And you know, Too Faced really used to be like one of my favorite brands back in the days. And the fact that, as I said, it was more difficult for me to access, that made me even love the brand a little bit more, because, you know, not every girl in Finland had Too Faced, because it's not something you can really get here. Nowadays you can buy it from some online stores, so look fantastic, and Cult Beauty do carry Too Faced. I'm going to apply a little bit of mascara to my lower lashes. By the way, I am not loving the lash lift that I have at all. I have just realized that for me, you know, it doesn't make any sense to try to pay someone so that they try to make my lashes look nice, because most likely I'm not going to be happy with them anyways, and then I just want to use false lashes. I have been kind of like apologizing that I just wear them because I like them, but you don't need to wear them. And yes, I don't think anyone needs to wear false lashes, but if they are something that bring joy to me, you know, it's not away from anyone else. And I don't like to wear those super thick lashes, nothing wrong if you do like them, but I feel because I do have smaller eyes, those make my eyes look even more small and tired, but these demi-wispies, I think they open my eyes so beautifully. And speaking of making my eyes look more open instead of smaller, we do have a step ahead that I wouldn't want to do. I'm afraid this is going to like ruin my entire look, but we need to do it for the sake of this video. I'm going to be using my oldest eyeliner, as I said previously in the video. This is a waterline pencil and this is black. So yes, I do have eyes that are smaller, and I do feel with like my eyeshadow, with eyeliner, with lashes, I can make my eyes look like a little bit bigger and more open. But when I put black to my waterline, it just makes the eyes smaller. Like if you compare this eye to this eye, I think the difference is huge. And this exact reason is why I don't really enjoy doing super smoky eyes, where I would have dark color all over my lid, because my eyes are smaller and hooded, and I think that kind of looks look really heavy on me. So I usually prefer to wear something a little bit lighter on my lid, and then the darker colors either on the outer half of my lid or strictly in the crease and outer V area. Okay, so today we are going to be using my oldest bronzer. This is the theBalm Bahama Mama, and this one I have bought in July of 2015, or actually my husband bought this to me when he was visiting Tallinn, Estonia. This is maybe a little bit deep for me now that I don't have any tan, however I feel I can make it work. And I do really want to work on it, so that's why I'm just wearing it. But usually during winter time I would prefer something lighter. This one I need to be really careful with. Oh yeah, and theBalm used to be another one of my favorite brands. Like I think my top 3 brands back in like 2015, 2016 were Too Faced, theBalm, and probably NYX was one of them. But I used to have a lot of theBalm products. I used to have some of their eyeshadows. I still do have, because I depotted my theBalm palettes. They are fairly easy palettes to depot, and I only kept the shades that I liked. But I also had a lot of their cheek products. Marilou I completely used up, and I actually repurchased the thing last year, and still today it is my favorite highlighter. Like if I really only had to have only one highlighter, I would pick Marilou, because it is something that goes with almost anything. Trying to blend that out just a little bit with my powder brush. Then I will be using my e.l.f. Baked Blush in the shade Rich Rose. This is my oldest blush, and this one I have bought in spring of 2016. And this one is broken, and it is actually, I think, my most used blush. Like when you look at it, it is not really even domed anymore like it used to be. So I think my official goal for this blush this year would be to hit pan on this one. It is in my 30 by 30 project pan, where I will try to, you know, hit pan and finish some products by my 30th birthday, but that is not before June of 2022. But this totally is my favorite blush. I mean, look at that. That is just so pretty. It is the most perfect blush to this look. It is this beautiful neutral rosy and glowy blush. I really do love neutral blush, especially with more dramatic eye looks and lip colors. Today we kinda will have both. I don't think this eye look would be too dramatic, but that black waterline made it kinda like smoky, and today's lip product will be a vampy one, so. I do have 2 highlighters that are from 2017. I'm not right now exactly sure which one is older, but I know both of them I have bought in spring of 2017. the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter in the shade Be My Highlight. This used to be something that everybody on YouTube raved about, and I got to say I really do love this highlighter. It's just not the ideal tone for me when I don't have any tan. I can make it work, but it looks better if I do have tan. We are not going to use that today though, because we are going to use another highlighter from 2017. This one is actually depotted from the Beige Cosmetics Carli Bybel Deluxe Edition palette, so it is the pink highlighter over here. I have repressed it, but I do think this pink color will be perfect for this look. This is kind of like a warmer champagne sort of pink. Oh my gosh, I love this. I think BH highlighter formula can be like a little bit hit and miss. Some of the formulas are like just powder messes, but some are absolutely stunning. And this highlighter also is in my 30 by 30 project pan, so this I'm trying to finish. But I think highlighter is a product that goes really slowly, and I don't want to have a large highlighter collection by any means, because in the end of the day there are not that many different things unless you're into like some fancy like duochrome highlighters, which I am personally not. My oldest lip product is this NYX Simply Vamp Lip Cream in the shade Covet. I love this. This is one of my favorite lipsticks. I guess it's like in my lipstick top 3. It is in my 30 by 30 project pan. I'm trying to use it up because it's so old, but this is discontinued and I love it so much that I actually bought a backup. I have never bought a backup before to a lipstick, and I don't think I ever will again, but this is just so special because it's really unique. It is this metallic burgundy color, and I know there are some metallic liquid lipsticks, but I do most of the times prefer bullet formula. This is just really, really great. However, before applying the lipstick, I will be using lip liner. This is not my oldest, but I'm just going to use one that matches that lipstick. I just really do love this lipstick, but since it's so old, it is 5 years at this point, I am working on it, and lipstick is another category that I'm trying to keep curated. I like to have variety there, but at the same time they do expire quicker than eyeshadows, for example. So because of that, I don't really want to have overlapping. My oldest setting spray is from 2019, and it is my Urban Decay All Nighter setting spray. In fact, I only have 2 setting sprays, so the another one is the Chill from Urban Decay. And I was actually a little bit surprised that this one is from 2019. However, when I thought about it more, last year I did focus on panning some of my not favorite setting sprays, because my goal was to be able to curate my setting spray collection to only these 2, and now we are there. Let me quickly put on some jewelry and do my hair off camera, so I will be back for final thoughts. Okay, so I'm back. This is the finished look, and I got to say, I really do like this look. Like, everything about this look I like, except the black waterline. The Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, it just amazes me because it is old, but still it performs so well. That's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you on my next one. Bye bye.